Miss Transformers 96 here with another movie review. So this time I'm going to be reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. This will be a spoiler-filled review. I don't plan on holding anything back. If you haven't seen the movie, don't watch this because there are actually things that can be spoiled for you in this film. Also, you know, I've only seen it once at this point, so I'm sure that once I see it again, I will be like, you know, oh, I should have mentioned that, or oh, I should mention that. So hopefully I can get out as many thoughts as I possibly can in this. Hopefully I don't miss too much, but I'm sure it's inevitable that I will miss something. But let's start it off here. I do have a bit of an outline that I'm going to go over. Mainly, I'm going to be talking about the characters in this movie because it's a very character-driven story. But first of all, before I get into the actual characters, the humor. The humor in the movie was a big part of the first one, and you know, it was one of the funniest Marvel movies that we had seen. The humor in this one is still good. I think it is quite nice. I think at the very beginning, it seemed like it was trying to be funny a little too hard, and you know, that kind of worried me, especially since some of the jokes weren't landing. However, towards the middle of the film, though, the jokes became more natural, they fit in better with the story, and just in general, they became funnier. So this is a very funny movie, although it does take a little bit to get started, basically. But I did enjoy the humor as a whole. I thought it was quite good, just like the first movie, you know, it has that unique kind of sense of humor. Then the action stakes in this movie are definitely heavily raised. The action is just, you know, like tripled every single time. So which is obviously what they're going to do in a sequel like this. But I think that it's very nice. It was good to see the stakes rise, but they rose naturally with the story, and it wasn't so much, you know, bigger and crazier for the sake of being bigger and crazier. This movie overall is a visually just stunning movie. Just about every frame is just beautiful. It's just so many colors, like a rainbow effect. There were so many, you know, kind of weird planets that they went to that had like dust. There was rainbow type of coloring that just looked beautiful. And I did see this in IMAX, which actually has a larger aspect ratio, which means that you saw a bit more of the screen than you actually will if you see it in the regular theater. So like they're you know, IMAX always has a bigger screen, but I mean that the picture itself, you are actually missing part of the top and part of the bottom of the picture when you don't see it in IMAX. So there's a reason to see it in IMAX too, which is very cool. And the 3D in IMAX, at least, was quite good. Now, going over also the music in this movie. The music is disappointing. That's the one like disappointing thing I can think about this movie. I really enjoyed the first movie's music. A lot of those songs I hadn't heard, and they were really enjoyable. And obviously the music from the first trailer was such a big deal when that trailer came out. So this movie had some weaker music. You know, I like that the Fox one that they use in the trailer. That's a good song. But other than that, all the other songs fit the tone and the story, but they're not cool like they were in the first one. So that's disappointing. I could definitely see the sales for the music on this soundtrack not doing as well as the first one, because the first one did very well. Now getting on to the actual characters, we have Star-Lord. I think that this movie does a tremendous job of really characterizing each of these characters. They all have like an individual story arc, which is very unique to see in a teen movie where so many people, not to mention a sequel of a teen movie, because you've already done this in the first film, so to give them all new elements to their personal stories is very impressive, and I was quite taken back by how they managed to do it, but without it seeming like they just jammed it all in. Very impressive, I have to say. Star-Lord, I thought that he was great. Obviously, in this movie, it's his dynamic with his father that's the biggest part, but he does also, they do dive into his relationship with Gamora a bit heavier as well, which is very nice. And, you know, although there's resolution to that storyline, however, there's not much movement to it. They're basically in the same place when they started, but they're kind of, you know, recognizing it a bit more. But his relationship with his father is quite good. You know, I will talk about, you know, I guess I'll talk about Ego right now. But Ego, I actually really enjoyed in this movie. I thought that he was one of the best parts. I'm super happy that he turned out to be a villain, and I really loved his story. I thought that he had a unique and not so, you know, twisty mustache villain motives. You know, I thought that his motives seemed quite natural, especially since I did love the fact that he actually did love Peter Quill's mom, that he wasn't, you know, just trying to have a kid with as many people as possible like his original plan. I'm glad that he actually did, like, legitimately fall in love with her, but then having to kill her was such a big reveal, and I definitely love that a lot. You know, that kind of changes how you see the first scene of the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and I also love the fact that as soon as he said that, like, without a second, Star-Lord just immediately takes out his guns and starts shooting him as much as he can. I thought that was a great reaction, you know, and really just shows you how much he did love his mom and how much he considered his mom's passing to take away from his life. So I very much like that. I thought that Ego was a fantastic villain. Yeah, he obviously did get very CGI, you know, monsterish towards the end, and you had some crazy battles between him and Star-Lord, but it was really cool. Like that, it was very over the top, but it fit the over top tone of Guardians of the Galaxy, so I didn't mind it at all, and I thought that worked quite nicely. And you know, having a good named actor like Kurt Russell be the villain, I did enjoy as well. So overall, I really enjoyed Ego. Ego was one of the two characters in this movie that really got my attention and impressed me. I really do hope that we get a Hot Toys of him. That would be sweet. Then Gamora. Gamora was a good character. She has, you know, a bit more of her relationship development with Star-Lord again. However, her main storyline comes with Nebula. Her and Nebula's story as sisters and kind of finding, reconciling with each other is a big part of their story. And I think that it's a nice story. You don't, you know, Gamora basically just grows by realizing the position that her sister was in as a child. While Nebula is actually a really fleshed out, very nicely, especially since in the first movie she wasn't at all. In the first movie, you know, she was just kind of that mean villain, you know, there's not much to her. But in this movie, you really do find out why she's mean, and specifically why she hates Gamora, with her, you know, having to battle her as a child and losing every single time, and every single time that she lost, she is surgically, you know, broken down and became more of a machine. And you know, so it's just kind of like it's a metaphor and a physical representation of her losing a part of herself every single time she lost to Gamora. So I thought that was a great storyline. They've really fleshed out Nebula a lot more than before, and their relationship together is quite nice. I'm very happy to have Nebula on the team. I think that she very much fits. Drax in this movie, there is some stuff added to his wife and daughter. He doesn't get as much characterization as the rest of these characters. He's more of the comic relief, and he's very funny in this movie. However, there is one scene in particular when he's looking at these pawns and Mantis touches him, you know, and just she breaks down, and you can kind of see that that's how he feels inside. I thought that was a really nice way of showing how Drax feels without having Drax to necessarily show it. So that was very cool, very unique. Mantis in this movie, Mantis wasn't as cool as I expected her to be. In the comics, she fights in like an acrobatic style, and in this movie she doesn't fight at all. She's barely conscious for the climax of the film. She does one thing and then she gets knocked out, and that's it, you know, and then we don't see her until the very end. So I liked her character a lot. I just didn't like that she didn't have anything to do. She was just kind of the damsel in distress for the last act of the movie. I could see her being a really cool character if she does like officially join the team and have more of a important role when it comes to their missions or, you know, the climaxes of future films. Groot, of course, is fantastic. He's as cute as can be, and he was just wonderful, of course. I love the fact that he has, you know, he's a toddler, so he doesn't really understand things, and him trying to bring back Yondu's mohawk was very funny, especially when he brings back, like, a severed toe. Very hysterical stuff. I will say that when the Ravengers have him, and they put him in a Ravenger garb, and they're yelling at him in a circle, and they're dumping alcohol on him, and they're kicking him, it was almost, like, disturbing, like, because obviously Groot, he's not real, of course, but he is a child, so to see, like, a child be, like, abused like that, it's kind of weird, you know? I'm surprised they took it that far. It's a minor thing, but it was kind of weird to watch, you know? Having him in the cage I thought was sad enough, and then when they started beating him, I was like, whoa, you know, this is getting a little disturbing. But he is an excellent character. I really do love him, and I assume this is the last time we'll ever see Baby Groot, considering the end credit scene, he's a teenager, so I'm sure by Infinity War he will be an adult again, which I think is nice. I do like adult Groot, and I love Baby Groot, but I don't need Baby Groot in every single movie, so I'm pretty happy with that. Next up we have Rocket Raccoon. Rocket Raccoon, at the beginning of the movie, I was very confused with. He seemed like a completely different person. They just made him like a full-out jerk. And you know, he had those type of tendencies in the first film, but he wasn't just a full-out jerk. So it was very odd to see him all of a sudden have this really different personality from what we've already seen. However, it's explained nicely, and he has a great character resolution. So although it does feel a little jarring when you first see it, it serves a purpose. So it does, you know, work by the end. However, at the beginning, it does feel like very sudden. Then Yondu. Yondu was the other breakout star with Ego for me. These two characters, I was excited for, but wasn't expecting much, and they both blew me away, being my favorite characters in the films, I would say. Yondu was great. I liked him in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't, like, amazing. In this movie, he was really amazing. I loved his relationship with the other Ravengers, and how, you know, his feelings toward Quill caused a rift between them. I thought that was excellent. And not to mention, just, I love the fact that he is, you know, Peter Quill's father. He's his father figure. He's the one that raised him, and he does love him, which you saw in the first movie, especially when he opens the orb and he finds that there's no Infinity Stone, that Quill switched out for a troll, you know, and he just smiles like, that's my boy, you know, type of a smile there. So I truly loved Yondu in this movie. I thought he was very funny too. I love his new mohawk and his the way that he does the whistling to kill everybody. And I also, one of the funniest things in the movie for me was when he was falling down via his whistle arrow thing, and Peter Quill says he looks like Star-Lord, or he looks like Mary Poppins, and he goes, is Mary Poppins cool? You know, and he's like, yes, he is cool. And then he's like, everybody, I'm Mary Poppins. Thought that was hysterical, very funny, and it does fit the character really nicely too. So I absolutely love that. Yondu was amazing. I truly was disappointed when he dies. Usually, I want heroes to die in these movies because it just adds stakes, it adds more emotion, and I enjoy that. So usually when a character's like about to die, I'm like, oh yes, please kill him, don't bring him back. You know, don't like have them live by the end of the movie, like sometimes it happens. So usually I want the characters to die. I found myself truly hoping that somebody saved Yondu towards the end of this movie. Like, you know, usually I love to see them die. It just adds more depth to the film. But with this movie, I was like, no, I want this character to live. Please don't kill him. Please don't kill him. And it's like the first time that's ever happened to me in a film, actually, because I do enjoy when characters die, when the heroes die. I mean, I enjoy when a movie actually goes to that level. So I've never been like wanting them not to kill them, and I truly did not want Yondu to die because I finally loved the character, and they kill him off as soon as I start loving him. So I was extremely disappointed by his passing, but I think it was handled beautifully. Like, it wasn't something that was just kind of thrown away afterwards, like Quicksilver. You know, there wasn't much done with Quicksilver once he dies. Yondu, there is, you know, quite a bit that goes on, and you have a funeral scene, which I thought was very nice, and you know, you can see Star-Lord's growth with accepting his father was Yondu, and he doesn't feel like there's anything missing from his childhood because he actually had a father. So I thought that was very good, and Yondu was excellent. I need a Hot Toys Yondu figure. I will be devastated if they don't produce one, and I really hope they do. Yeah, the ending, I thought that they ended it nicely. However, it doesn't end with that, oh yeah, fun feeling like the first one did. It does end on more of a depressing note, which I really didn't expect them to do, just because the film in general, both of these, the series itself, is more lighthearted. So I expected them to have like the sad funeral scene, and then for it to pick up in the last scene, but it actually doesn't. It ends at the funeral scene, and it's all quite sad at the end. Even the song that's played at the end isn't, you know, fun like the first one. It is sad. So I do like the fact that they took it to that level and they stuck with it till the end, even though this series is more fun-loving. And the end credit scenes, having 5 of them, was kind of fun. One of the scenes went over my head. It's the Sylvester Stallone scene. I will look it up and research it, but I'm not quite sure what that's referencing. If that is referencing like a specific Nova group in the comics, or if it's referencing like an old film from Sylvester Stallone. The thing that really is getting me confused is the really big guy in that scene. Is that not Michael Duncan? Like, that looks exactly like Michael Duncan, and Michael Duncan died a few years ago, so I'm a little confused as to if that is like a reference to an older movie or something. But I'm gonna look it up. That one intrigues me extensively. Then there's Aisha. Also, Aisha in the film, didn't really like her. She's just, you know, standard bad guy villain, and I didn't find her kind of arcade drone system to be relatively interesting. You know, I thought that her coming at the end with the Ego Planet was completely useless. I wish that she wasn't there at all. There was no reason for her to be there. But her scene was obviously referencing Adam Warlock. He's being made in a cocoon, more of a mechanical cocoon in this movie, though. So that's exciting to see that Adam Warlock will actually be introduced in Infinity War, considering he's such a big part of that storyline. And then, what else is there? The Teen Groot, that was a very funny one. Also, the scene where James Gunn's brother is trying out the whistle for Yondu's whistle, and he accidentally stabs Drax. Very funny. I thought that was very good. There's one more, and it's not coming to me. Oh yes, it's Stan Lee's. I thought that Stan Lee's was quite funny, but I wouldn't have saved that to be the last one. I would have put the best one at the last. So I would have probably picked the Teen Groot to be the last one, to be honest. The Stan Lee one is very funny and fun, but I would have picked Teen Groot because the Stan Lee one wasn't the strongest. I thought that his cameo in the movie, though, was really good, really smart to do it that way. And having 5 end credit scenes, it kind of took away of the special. The thing that's special about the end credit scenes. You know, I enjoy waiting through all of the credits to get to that one tease at the end that's very special. So to have just 5 of them, and to have, you know, like I'd say 4 out of the 5 of them be very funny and don't really have much to do on the MCU as a whole, and then just have the one which I would think that a lot of people would have completely forgot about, at least the normal crowd, being Aisha's, because Aisha's end credit scene is really the only one that has any bearing on the rest of the MCU. So it would have been cool if they did like 4 funny ones and then had the last one be like a teaser for Infinity War or something like that. That would have been sweet. But overall, I still liked what they did. I thought this was a tremendous movie because it added more characters to an already extensive character list, and it fleshed them all out so much. They really gave every single character a flaw in the beginning of the movie and had them overcome the flaw till the end, which is obviously classic 3-act structure, you know, hero's journey structure. So to see them do that with an entire team and to have them do it very well was very impressive, and it really was enjoyable to see. So I love this movie. They upped the stakes, they upped the character development, and they really just made everything bigger and better, but had it serve the story and not just for the sake of being bigger and better, which was great. So there you go. That's my thoughts on the movie Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Very happy with this movie. Cannot wait to see it again. I'm going to see it in a couple hours. And you know, I saw the first movie 10 times, so I'm sure I'm going to see this over and over and over. Got these sweet posters at the IMAX viewing last night. They look awesome. Probably going to display those at the Hot Toys figures. I'm super pumped about Guardians of the Galaxy. I hope Hot Toys make some of the new characters because they're taking their sweet time and it's pissing me off. But let me know what you guys think of this movie, and thanks so much for watching.